Imagine, right? Imagine getting this like totally frantic call from your daughter.
Mm.
And the last words she manages to get out are, "My husband is gone."
Oh, wow.
I mean, what would you think? Where would you even begin to go with that?
Chilling. Chilling. Yeah.
That's where we're starting today.
Eh.
It's heavy, but we're diving into this case, the Muskan Meerat drum case.
Okay.
Love, betrayal, a horrific crime. I mean, it all happened so fast.
Wow.
So just to be clear, for this deep dive, we're pulling from the YouTube video. It's called Black Magic or Love.
Okay.
Muskan Meerat drum case. It's up on the channel SRP Pay.
Okay.
And look, we're not just going to like list off the events, right? We really want to get into like what led to Sarah Brostogie's death, why people did what they did,
Right.
and try to make sense of all these insane details. It's a complex human tragedy, so we're going to go through it all, together,
Yeah.
piece by piece, based on what we know at least. So at the heart of this incredibly dark story, we have three people: Muskan Meerat, Sarah Brostogie, and Sahil Shukla. At first, their lives were connected in these pretty normal ways, through school, through marriage, but as we'll see, those connections, man, they just twisted into something horrifying.
Right.
So let's rewind back to Muskan's background. Where did this all begin?
Okay, so Muskan, she was born and raised in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. And from what we understand, she had a pretty good childhood, loving family, middle class, pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
Up until 8th grade, she was active in school like a normal kid.
Okay, so pretty normal so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got Sahil, also from Meerut, right? And get this, he went to the same school as Muskan, also until the 8th grade.
Wow. Small world.
Right, so they knew of each other, maybe not friends, but definitely in the same circles. What's really interesting, Sahil was apparently a pretty good kid in school. It makes you wonder, how people end up on such different paths.
Yeah, like what happens along the way that changes things so drastically?
Exactly, exactly. So was there like a turning point for Muskan? Did something change?
It seems like it. After 8th grade, she switched schools and kind of lost touch with her old friends.
Oh.
And, things weren't so clear-cut for her after that. Not great in academics, no real career goal. Seemed kind of lost, actually. And lonely, by all accounts.
Lonely, right. And that loneliness, man, that plays a big role in all this.
Yeah.
Okay, so set the scene for us. It's during this time that Sarah Rastogi enters the picture, right?
Exactly. He was also from Meerut, family lived there, but he often worked abroad. At first, we thought he was a merchant navy officer based in London, but a friend later clarified that he was actually working at a bakery there.
Wait, a bakery?
Yeah, a bakery.
Okay, so maybe not quite the glamorous image of a Navy officer.
Yeah, but the point is, when he met Mustin, he was totally smitten. Like, head over heels, love at first sight kind of thing. Very intense, even possessive from what we gather.
Wow, so right from the get-go, there was this powerful attraction. It's like, I guess it happens sometimes, love at first sight. But you have to wonder sometimes about that kind of intensity early on.
Right, where it leads.
Yeah. So this intense connection, it led to them getting married, right?
Yep. Love marriage in 2016.
Okay.
But not everyone was thrilled about it.
What, like families weren't on board?
Yeah, both Muskin and Saurabh's parents were against the marriage.
Really?
But they were determined. Saurabh actually flew back from London to marry her, which tells you something about how strong his feelings were.
Wow. That's a big move.
It is. So they started their married life in a rented room in Meerut. New chapter, new beginning, all that.
Hopeful, maybe.
Yeah, hopeful. And for a while, it seemed like they'd made the right decision. They were happy, honeymoon phase and all.
Mm-hmm.
But as we know, life rarely stays that simple.
Never does.
Right. Little disagreements started popping up, and those slowly escalated into bigger issues.
Distance probably didn't help. He was still going back to London for work.
Yeah, but he tried to stay connected. Would fly back to Meerut whenever he could just to see her.
So it was a long-distance thing.
Tough. Really tough. But then they had their daughter, and that seemed to bring them even closer, at least for a while.
Kids can do that, right? Change the whole dynamic.
Absolutely. Saurabh was over the moon, apparently. But the happiness didn't last. That distance, his work. And there's the whole thing about his profession, remember?
Oh, right. The Navy officer versus bakery worker thing.
Yeah. Seems that when Muskin learned the truth, maybe about the job and the money, because, bakery worker isn't exactly merchant Navy salary.
Right.
The arguments got worse. The distance between them grew. deception, even about something like that, can really impact a relationship.
No doubt. I mean, who knows what else is going on,
Mhm.
right? But that's when things take a really interesting turn.
Tell me.
It's 2019, and Muskan reconnects with Sahil Shukla,
Sahil, the school friend.
the one and only. It was through a WhatsApp group, like a school alumni thing,
Wow. I mean, think about it. A simple WhatsApp group
leading to
to all this.
exactly. So fill us in. How does this reconnection play out?
Okay, so Muskin recognizes Sahil from school, and at first it's just casual chats, a distraction from her marital problems, I guess.
Makes sense.
But those chats become more frequent. They start connecting on a deeper level. Soon enough, they're talking on the phone, and after all those years, they actually meet up.
Wow. So this is not just catching up anymore.
No, it's not. There's a strong attraction there, and it quickly turns into an affair. I mean, it shows how easily these connections can form, especially when someone's vulnerable.
Totally. And she's got her husband thousands of miles away. She's basically a single parent dealing with everything alone. And here's Sahil, right there,
Yeah.
present, offering attention.
A shoulder to cry on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But her family tried to step in, right? They saw she was struggling.
They did. Both her parents and her in-laws offered her to move in with them. Especially with the baby, they thought it would be easier.
It makes sense. So what happened? Why didn't she take them up on it?
She insisted on being independent, told her in-laws she wasn't comfortable living with them, told her parents she needed her freedom. If I need anything, I'll reach out. But there's something else going on.
Okay, what was she hiding?
It turns out, during this time, Muskan started using drugs with Sahil. Ganja, specifically. That's why she wanted to live alone. Away from her family, no judgment, no interference, just freedom to do what she wanted.
Drugs can do that, right?
Yeah.
Complicated and already messy situation.
Absolutely. Isolates you even further. So now we need to talk about Sahil, because he's a pretty complex character in all this.
Okay, yeah. What's his deal?
He's described as someone who was never really normal, even before all this. After school, he became super superstitious, started using a lot of drugs, and got really into the occult, black magic, all that.
Hold on, black magic? Seriously?
Yeah, apparently. Drawings of symbols, demons, they found all the stuff in his room. Neighbors said he was a recluse, barely left the house except to feed his cat.
That's a bit creepy, to be honest.
It is. Now, the YouTube narrator, he suggests that maybe it was more of a hippie lifestyle, not actual black magic.
Right.
But whatever it was, he was definitely not your average guy.
Yeah.
And this is a guy Muskan's getting involved with, sharing drugs with, having an affair with.
This is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So did Sarab have any clue about any of this?
Here's the thing. Muskan's landlord noticed Sahil visiting the house a lot, especially when Sarab was away.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and being a good landlord, he told Sarab about it.
I mean, what would you do in that situation? It's got to be a nightmare.
Definitely. So Sarab finds out, and they have this huge fight over the phone. He's thousands of miles away, but he's furious. He called his mother-in-law, Muskan's mom, asks her to check on Muskan.
Oh, man.
Muskan's mom, she's confused, but she goes over to their house. But Muskan refuses to open the door. Makes excuses, says Sarab's being controlling, distrustful, basically trying to cover her tracks.
So shady.
Eh.
And how does Sahil react to all this?
Well, after this whole incident, he does something really strange. He proposes marriage to Muskan.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and even Muskan, who's already having an affair with him, she finds his behavior erratic.
He's proposing marriage while she's still married to another guy. And she's surprised by his behavior. This is wild.
It is, but here's a crucial detail about Sahil. He was deeply attached to his mother, who had passed away. Like, really yearned to see her again.
Grief can be powerful.
It can, and maybe that grief, combined with the drugs, it messed with his reality, made him delusional.
Okay.
But Muskan, instead of helping him, she takes advantage of this. It's messed up.
What did she do?
She creates a fake Snapchat account, pretending to be his dead mother.
No way.
Yeah. For weeks, she talks to him through this fake account, convincing him it's really her. I mean, the psychological impact of that.
That's just cruel.
It is, and she uses this fake persona to manipulate him, telling him she's the perfect woman for him.
Oh, man.
And get this, she tells him that the only way they can be together, the only way his mother would approve, is if he kills Sarab.
She's pushing him to murder her husband. This is insane.
It is, and tragically, he agrees.
Wow.
So they start planning. On February 2nd, Muskan buys 2 knives, tells the shopkeeper they're for cutting chicken.
Cover story.
Exactly.
Ugh.
She also goes to a doctor, pretends to have anxiety, gets anti-anxiety meds.
2 drugs sore.
Yep. Their first attempt is on February 25th. She puts the meds in his drink, but he doesn't drink it.
He didn't drink it. Maybe he sensed something.
We'll never know. But Muskan doesn't give up. March 3rd, Sarab's mom sends him home with Loki kakufta.
That's a kind of vegetable dish, right?
Yeah, okay.
Muskan spikes the food with the drugs. Sarab eats it, falls asleep. She calls Sahil. They both go into his room.
Oh, God, this is it.
Muskan stabs him first, multiple times. Then Sahil joins in, and together they dismember his body. 15 pieces.
15. That's OD. I don't even have words.
It's horrific. And it gets worse. Sahil cuts off Sarabab's head and wrists, takes them to his house. The narrator doubts it's a black magic thing, but it's still disturbing. Later, he brings them back to Muskan's.
Okay.
They were going to cut the body into smaller pieces, put them in bags, and dump them. But they were afraid the neighbors would get suspicious seeing them going in and out all the time.
Right.
So they buy a big blue drum and cement. They put the body parts in the drum, fill it with cement.
They entombed him.
It's chilling. And then, get this, after all that, they go on a trip to Shimla, March 5th.
A trip? Are you serious?
Dead serious. And while they're there, Muskan uses Sarab's phone to message his sister, Chinky.
Pretending to be him.
Exactly. Asks about their Holi plans, says he's out of town for work, won't be back till after Holi, makes up excuses about why their daughter isn't with him.
That's cold.
It is. She even exchanges holy wishes with Chinky, gives vague answers when Chinky asks when he's coming back. Chinky's calling him, but obviously, no answer.
It's heartbreaking. His own sister. Clueless. So when does the truth come out?
March 18th, out of the blue, Muskan calls her mother.
Okay.
Tells her that Sarab's parents killed him in front of her.
She's blaming his parents. Why would she do that?
Her mother doesn't buy it, asks why she didn't scream, why the neighbors didn't hear anything. Muskan has no answers. Her father takes her to the police station.
Finally.
On the way there, she sticks to her story. But at the station, she breaks down, confesses everything. She and Sahil killed Sarab.
Man. So what happens next? Where do things stand now?
Well, the video was recorded on March 2nd, and at that point, the investigation was still going on.
It's an incredibly disturbing story. Infidelity, manipulation, brutal violence. I mean, could this happen to anyone? How do you even begin to process something like this?
It makes you think about the dark side of human nature, how someone you love can betray you, manipulate you, even drive you to do something horrific. It's a reminder to be aware, to trust your gut, to pay attention to the red flags.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that the video mentions there wasn't a huge public outcry about this case. Makes you wonder why some stories grab our attention and others just fade away.
Yeah, that is strange.
It is. And who knows what else will come out as the investigation continues. There could be more to the story, more details, more twists and turns. It's a case that really sticks with you.
It does.
It makes you think about the dark side of love, how easily things can spiral out of control, how important it is to be aware, to watch for those warning signs, both in our own relationships and in the lives of people we care about. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the people closest to us can be capable of the most unimaginable acts.
It's a reminder to stay vigilant for ourselves and for others.